What was the actual real-world consequence of this meltdown? According to the source, this doom loop wasn't just a bunch of numbers on a screen. No, this was a massive, brutally efficient transfer of wealth. In the chaos of that fire sale, there were very clear winners and some very, very clear losers.
So let's look at this tale of two traders, which the source just lays out with chilling clarity. On one side of the trade, you have the sellers, the nation's pension funds. They were forced. They weren't selling because they thought it was a good deal. They were selling because they basically had a gun to their head. They were completely price insensitive. And on the other side, the buyers, hedge funds, other opportunistic investors. They had cash. They could just sit back, watch the panic unfold, and then at the very bottom, step in and buy up high-quality British government debt for pennies on the pound. And this is the price tag. £425 billion. That is the approximate amount the document says was just wiped from the value of UK pension fund assets in 2022. In that moment of crisis, a huge amount of long-term wealth, we're talking about the retirement savings of millions of people, was effectively transferred from those pension funds to the opportunistic buyers.
The market panicked because it felt like no one competent was flying the plane. They lost trust. And that loss of trust has a price. It's what our source calls the moron premium. It's an extra cost that the UK now has to pay on all of its borrowing, not because of its debt levels, but because investors now factor in a higher political risk.
And this is where the document leaves us, with this absolutely devastating summary. A permanent tax on the entire nation, levied for what it calls the temerity, the audacity, of a government that thought it knew better than the market.
It forces all of us to ask a really fundamental question, one that echoes long after the markets have stabilized. What is the long-term price a country pays for forgetting its own reputation?